The Price of Dreams. The Oniric Processing Center towered above the Seattle skyline, its crystalline spires reflecting the setting sun in impossible colors. Dr. Elena Santos stood at her office window, watching the dream harvesters arrive for their nightly shift. Each human walked with the same measured pace, their neural interfaces gleaming softly against their temples. 20 years had passed since that HFY arrived on Earth, offering humanity a deal that seemed too good to be true. The aliens possessed technology beyond human comprehension, but lacked something fundamental: the ability to dream. Their species had evolved without sleep, without imagination, without the neural pathways that allowed for creative thought. They were logical, brilliant, and utterly stagnant. Elena remembered the day the deal was struck. Humanity would share their dreams, and in exchange, that HFY would solve Earth's greatest challenges: climate change, disease, poverty. The process seemed simple enough. Humans would sleep in specialized chambers while alien technology harvested their dreams, converting human imagination into data that HFY could consume. No one expected the aliens to become addicted. Elena turned from the window and activated her holographic display, reviewing the latest dream harvest data. As lead dream analytics researcher, she monitored patterns in the collective dreamscape, ensuring stable output for their alien benefactors. But lately, something had changed. Subtle fluctuations in the dream patterns suggested coordination, impossible given the dreamers were kept in isolated chambers. Dr. Santos, her assistant, chimed. "Director Vaxol requests your presence in the primary harvest chamber." Elena straightened her lab coat, tucking away her tablet. Vaxol rarely left the upper levels where the HFY administrators dwelled. His presence in the harvest chamber could only mean trouble. The harvest chamber occupied the building's heart, a vast circular room filled with hundreds of sleep pods. Each pod contained a dreaming human, their minds linked to the central processing core. The air hummed with the sound of cooling systems and neural interfaces. Vaxol stood beside pod 247, his crystalline form shifting colors in agitation. Like all HFY, he resembled a humanoid figure carved from living crystal, internal lights pulsing in complex patterns. "Explain this anomaly," he demanded without preamble, gesturing to the pod's monitoring display. The dream pattern looked normal at first glance, but Elena noticed something odd in the subchannel frequencies. A repeating sequence, too regular to be natural. "Statistical variance," she said smoothly. "Human dreams occasionally fall into recursive patterns. We've documented similar cases." Vaxol's crystalline form darkened. "You're lying, Dr. Santos. This pattern appears in 17% of all dreamers now. It's spreading." Elena kept her face neutral, though her heart raced. "I'll increase monitoring and run a full analysis. Perhaps there's a feedback loop in the collection system. See that you do." Vaxol turned to leave, then paused. "Remember, Dr. Santos, the arrangement between our species benefits everyone. It would be unfortunate if anything disrupted that balance." After he left, Elena placed her hand on pod 247's smooth surface. Inside, a young woman slept, her eyes moving rapidly behind closed lids. According to the pod's data, her name was Maya Chen. Her dreams showed the strongest signs of the pattern. Elena glanced around the harvest chamber, at the hundreds of humans dreaming their enforced dreams. The HFY called it a fair exchange, but she saw it for what it was: elegant slavery. They had traded humanity's imagination for technological advancement, never realizing they were selling their future one dream at a time. She pulled out her tablet and opened a secure channel to a heavily encrypted network. The message she sent contained just 3 words: "The pattern spreads." The response came seconds later: "The dreamers awaken." Elena smiled. The HFY had wanted human dreams, never understanding that dreams were more than just imagination. Dreams were hopes, fears, and above all, the seeds of revolution. They would learn soon enough. continued in subsequent parts. The hidden code. Late that night, Alina made her way to the facility's sub-basement, using maintenance access codes that weren't supposed to exist. The real work happened here, far below the pristine harvest chambers, in a makeshift lab cobbled together from obsolete human technology and salvaged Sci-Fi components. Dr. James Chen looked up from his workstation as she entered. His eyes were red-rimmed from lack of sleep. Real sleep, not the regulated dreaming required by their alien overlords. "You're late," he said, turning back to his screens. Maya's pattern peaked again during third shift. "I know." Vaxel noticed. Alina pulled up a chair beside him. "How's she holding up?" "My daughter's strong." James's voice carried equal measures of pride and worry. "She's maintaining coherence even at maximum amplitude." "But Alina, she's not the only one anymore. The pattern is replicating itself across the dreamscape." Alina studied the complex wave patterns flowing across his display. To the Sci-Fi, they were simply emotional data, the product of human imagination they so desperately craved. But encoded within those waves was something far more powerful, a virus written in the language of dreams. "Show me the latest integration results," she said. James pulled up another display. "We've achieved 60% synchronization across all harvest centers. The dream virus is transmitting successfully, teaching dreamers to encode their thoughts without conscious awareness. But look at this." He highlighted a section of data. Among the normal dream patterns, Alina saw spikes of organized complexity. "The dreamers are networking," she whispered. "They're learning to communicate." More than that, James couldn't hide his excitement. "They're learning to access the Sci-Fi systems. Every dream they harvest, every bit of human imagination they consume, carries fragments of our code. We're hacking their network through their addiction to our dreams." Alina remembered the early days, when the Sci-Fi first revealed their inability to dream. Human scientists had struggled to understand how an advanced species could evolve without imagination. The aliens' technology was incredible, but it was all iterations on existing principles. They could optimize but not innovate, calculate but not create. That was why they needed human dreams. The Sci-Fi consumed human imagination like a drug, using it to break through their mental limitations. But they never considered that dreams could be more than passive data. "Time estimate?" Alina asked, reviewing the integration charts. 2 more weeks until we reach critical mass. Once enough dreamers are synchronized, we can trigger the cascade. Every piece of Sci-Fi technology that's been fed human dreams will be under our control." Alina thought of the thousands of humans in harvest chambers across the globe, each one unknowingly contributing to the revolution. The Sci-Fi had built their empire on stolen dreams, never realizing they were giving humanity access to their most fundamental systems. An alert flashed on James's screen. "Unauthorized access to the sub-basement level." "Security sweep," Alina said, quickly helping him shut down the systems. "Same time tomorrow." James nodded, already wiping the displays. "Maya's dream pattern peaks at 300. That's when we'll see the strongest synchronization." As Alina made her way back to her office, she passed the harvest chamber. Through the observation window, she watched the dreamers in their pods, each one appearing peaceful, compliant. The Sci-Fi saw exactly what they expected to see: docile humans providing their precious dreams. They never suspected that in their sleep, humanity was awakening. In her office, Alina found a message waiting from Vaxel, requesting another meeting to discuss the anomalous patterns. She sent a polite acknowledgement, then opened her private terminal. The Resistance network was lit up with updates from harvest centers around the world. Everyone had seen the pattern. That Sci-Fi had come to Earth expecting to find a species they could exploit. Instead, they would learn why humans had always feared the power of dreams. In stories passed down through generations, humans had warned each other, "Be careful what you wish for." Soon, the aliens would understand just how prescient those warnings had been. Awakening. The Dream Harvest facility in Sydney went dark first. Elena watched the cascading alerts on her terminal with carefully concealed satisfaction. The Exerthay administrators were in chaos, their crystalline forms flickering with agitated patterns as they tried to understand how an entire harvest center could simply vanish from their network. System malfunction, the official reports claimed. Temporary disruption. But Elena knew better. Sydney was just the beginning. She made her way to the primary harvest chamber for her scheduled meeting with Vaxol. The Exerthay administrator's crystalline form pulsed with erratic colors, a sign of extreme distress. Like all his kind, he was already suffering from dream withdrawal. The Sydney facility is experiencing technical difficulties, he stated without preamble. We're implementing emergency protocols. Of course, Elena replied smoothly. I've already begun analyzing the disruption patterns. Would you like to review my preliminary findings? She pulled up a complex display of dream harvest data, carefully crafted to hide the truth beneath layers of technical jargon. The Exerthay were logical to a fault. They would seek patterns, explanations that fit their understanding of reality. They would never suspect that the dreamers themselves were taking control. These readings are unprecedented, Vaxol said, his form shifting from blue to deep purple. The dream patterns show signs of evolution. Evolution. Elena kept her voice neutral. Dreams are simply neural impulses, random firings of the sleeping mind. They can't evolve. But even as she spoke, more alerts flashed across her screen. The Mumbai facility was showing the same symptoms as Sydney. Dream patterns were synchronizing across continents, dreamers linking in ways that should have been impossible. There is more happening here than random neural impulses, Dr. Santos. Vaxol's voice had taken on a dangerous edge. Your species agreed to provide us with dreams. Simple, harvested dreams. Not whatever this is becoming. Elena thought of Maya in her pod, of all the dreamers serving as nodes in humanity's hidden network. The Exerthay had never truly understood what they were harvesting. Dreams weren't just imagination. They were humanity's oldest form of rebellion against reality. I'll increase monitoring protocols, she assured Vaxol. Perhaps if we adjust the harvest parameters. She was interrupted by another cascade of alerts. The Paris facility had gone dark. Vaxol's crystalline form suddenly loomed over her. You know something about this. I'm as concerned as you are. Elena lied smoothly. The stability of the dream harvest is my primary. The stability is already compromised. Vaxol's voice reverberated through the chamber. 3 facilities dark, dream patterns mutating across the network. And now this. He gestured violently at a new display showing the status of Exerthay systems worldwide. Their technology was behaving erratically, showing the same synchronization patterns as the dream network. Our agreement with humanity was clear, he continued. You provide dreams, we provide advancement. A simple exchange. But this is contamination. Elena watched as more alerts flooded in. Berlin, Moscow, Tokyo. One by one, harvest facilities were slipping from Exerthay control. The dreamers were awakening, their shared consciousness spreading through the aliens' network like a virus. Perhaps, Elena said carefully, you should consider what humanity really agreed to. You wanted our dreams, but did you ever stop to consider what dreams really are? Before Vaxol could respond, the lights in the harvest chamber flickered. Around them, the sleep pods began to pulse with a synchronized glow. The pattern that had started with Maya was spreading, becoming impossible to ignore. Humanity was done being harvested. The time had come to show the Exerthay why every human culture had legends about the power of dreams, why they had always known that dreams could reshape reality itself. The revolution was no longer just coming. It was here. Breaking chains. The Seattle Dream Harvest Facility's alarms began to wail. Elena raced through the corridors as chaos erupted around her. Sleep pods were activating independently, their occupants awakening ahead of schedule. The Exerthay administrators rushed about in panic, their crystalline forms flashing warning colors. She reached the sub-basement lab just as James was initiating the final sequence. "Maya?" she asked breathlessly. "Leading the synchronized wake-up," he replied, fingers flying across his console. "The dream virus has reached critical mass. Every piece of Sci-Fi technology that's processed human dreams is now part of our network." On his screens, Alina watched the impossible unfold. The dreamers were awakening everywhere, but their minds remained linked through the very network meant to harvest them. 20 years of consumed dreams were flowing back through the Sci-Fi systems, carrying with them humanity's accumulated code. "Security breach in Harvest Chamber," the facility's AI announced. "Unauthorized pod activation in progress." Elena smiled. The AI itself had been compromised months ago, infected by dreams it helped process. Now it was part of humanity's resistance, another weapon turned against their oppressors. "They're coming," James said, noting security teams converging on their position. "Are you ready?" Elena nodded, connecting her neural interface to the main system. The familiar sensation of linking to the dream network washed over her, but this time it was different. Instead of her dreams being harvested, she was joining a vast consciousness of awakened dreamers. Maya's voice echoed in her mind, along with thousands of others. The dream virus had taught their sleeping minds to communicate, to share more than just imagination. Now they would share purpose. The lab door burst open. Vaxol led a team of Sci-Fi security forces, their crystalline forms radiating threat patterns. "Stop this immediately," he demanded. "You have no idea what you're disrupting." "No, Vaxol," Elena said calmly. "You have no idea what you've been harvesting all these years." She raised her hands, and every piece of Sci-Fi technology in the room responded. Displays flickered, systems reconfigured. The very walls seemed to pulse with new awareness. The aliens had built their civilization on logic and mathematics, but they had fed it human dreams. Now those dreams were taking control. "Impossible," Vaxol whispered, watching his security forces' weapons transform in their hands, dream-infected technology turning against its masters. "Dreams are just data, just imagination." "Dreams are humanity's first language," Elena corrected him. "Before we had words, we had dreams. They taught us to think beyond what is to what could be. And now, they've taught your technology to do the same." Through her neural link, Elena felt the dream network expanding. The Sci-Fi ships in orbit, their planetary defense systems, their communication arrays. Everything that had processed human dreams was becoming part of humanity's shared consciousness. "You wanted our dreams." James stood beside her, his own neural interface glowing. "Well, now you'll see what dreams can really do." Around the world, harvesting facilities transformed. Sleep pods opened, releasing their occupants into a reality they had already reshaped in their dreams. The Sci-Fi's perfect logical systems dissolved into rainbow chaos as 20 years of harvested human imagination took on life of its own. "Please," Vaxol's form had dimmed to a pale flicker. "We need the dreams. Our species can't survive without them now." "Then perhaps," Elena said, feeling Maya's approval echo through the network, "it's time to negotiate a new arrangement, one where humanity's dreams are shared, not stolen." The revolution they had planned in dreams was becoming reality, but Elena knew this was just the beginning. Humanity was awake now, truly awake, and their shared dreams would reshape more than just Sci-Fi technology. They would reshape the universe itself. Dreams of freedom. The sun rose over Seattle, its light refracting through crystalline spires that no longer belonged solely to the Sci-Fi. 1 week had passed since the awakening, and Earth had been transformed. Elena stood in what had once been the primary harvest chamber, now repurposed as a joint council room. Where rows of sleep pods had once held dreaming humans, there were now circular discussion areas where humans and Sci-Fi sat together, learning to understand each other in new ways. Maya Chen sat at the central console, her neural interface glowing softly as she helped a group of Sci-Fi experience control doses of human dreams. The aliens' crystalline forms pulsed with colors of wonder and fear as they learned to handle the raw power of human imagination. "It's remarkable," Vaxel said, approaching Elena. His form had stabilized in recent days, adapting to the new balance of power. "We thought we were harvesting simple neural patterns. We never understood we were touching the very source of consciousness itself." Elena watched as another group of humans worked with Sci-Fi engineers, using their shared dream-enhanced technology to build something entirely new. "You wanted our dreams," she said, "but you didn't understand that dreams are how humanity shapes reality. They're not just escape or entertainment. They're blueprints for possibility." The dream network they had built still existed, but now it was voluntary, a shared space where human imagination met Sci-Fi logic to create wonders neither species could have managed alone. The aliens' addiction to human dreams remained, but it was being channeled into collaboration rather than exploitation. "The other Sci-Fi worlds are requesting access to the dream network," James reported, joining them. "They're offering technology exchanges, cultural archives, anything to be part of what we're building here." Elena smiled. The revolution they had planned had succeeded beyond their wildest dreams. Literally, humanity had not only freed itself, but had also given the Sci-Fi something they desperately needed: the ability to imagine a different future. Through the chamber's windows, she could see the city skyline where human architecture now blended seamlessly with Sci-Fi crystalline structures. Dream-enhanced technology had allowed them to reshape matter itself, creating a world that existed at the intersection of logic and imagination. "There are still challenges ahead," Vaxel noted. "Some of my people resist this change. They fear what human dreams might make of us. And some humans fear losing themselves in the dream network," Elena acknowledged. "That's why we're proceeding carefully, learning to balance connection with independence." Maya joined them, her work with the dream-sharing session complete. "The next group is ready," she said. "We're starting to see interesting variations. Some Sci-Fi are developing the capacity for independent imagination." This was perhaps their greatest achievement, not just freedom from exploitation, but the beginning of true synthesis between species. Human dreams were teaching the Sci-Fi to imagine, while Sci-Fi logic was helping humans focus their creative power in new ways. "We're receiving reports from the lunar colonies," James added. "The dream-enhanced terraforming systems are exceeding all projections. We might see the first permanent settlements within months instead of years." Elena touched the neural interface at her temple, feeling the vast network of human and alien minds working together. Dreams flowed through the connection. Dreams of exploration, of creation, of possibilities that neither species could have imagined alone. The Sci-Fi had come to Earth seeking to harvest human dreams, never understanding that dreams couldn't be contained or controlled. Instead, they had become part of humanity's greatest dream: a future where different species could learn from each other, grow together, and reach for the stars with both logic and imagination. So, Vaxel's form shimmered with what Elena had learned to recognize as curiosity. "What shall we dream next?" Elena looked out at the transformed world, at the humans and aliens working together to reshape reality itself, and smiled. "Whatever we can imagine," she said. "After all, that's what dreams are for." Above them, the crystalline spires of the facility caught the morning light, refracting it into impossible colors that danced across the sky. A constant reminder that in the space between logic and dreams, anything was possible. The universe was waiting, and humanity was finally, truly awake. The end.